Hello and welcome to Terraria. My name's Todd, and last time we left off, I believe we were getting ready to fight the Golem, um, and so we went over to the dungeon to uh, fight a bunch of stuff to get ectoplasm and whatnot, and so I've managed to get a bunch of different stuff from the dungeon by just fighting down there almost endlessly, and I also managed to go over to the jungle and also collect a bunch more chlorophyte. A lot more, as you can tell. I mostly just left this stuff out just because it's not super interesting to just watch me fighting skeletons in the dungeon or collecting chlorophyte. Um, I guess you could laugh at me dying repeatedly, but I kind of just decided to leave that out because it's mostly just grinding stuff. So this is pretty much what I got in the dungeon. Some people might notice some pretty important items, like I managed to get a sniper rifle. It's a pretty good weapon. As you can see, it fires high velocity bullets. In other words, they shoot faster. It also does an insane amount of damage per shot. The downside to it, though, is of course that it has a very slow speed, so I probably won't be using it. The weapons I did manage to get, aside from that, were the Spectre Staff, the Magnet Sphere, the Paladin's Hammer, Shadow Beam Staff, and I did get more key brands, but I also got one of those previously, and I did get a Kraken as well. I did manage to get some black belts from the Bone Lees, but I never managed to get a Tabby, so I guess we won't be getting the Ninja Gear. At least not at this moment. So I also got, of course, another 2 Morning Stars and some rocket launchers. Overall, most of the weapons I got weren't all that notable, the major ones being the Spectre Staff and the Magnet Sphere. These two are insanely good, and they're insanely good, especially when paired with the Spectre set, which we will be using. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all the stuff I need. I also did manage to get a wisp in the bottle, and I've been meaning to show this off because our light pet has been terrible this entire time. That's just the amount of money that I had collected while I was there. I did also get a rifle scope. This is a cool little item that when you're using something like a rifle, like the sniper rifle, you can increase your view for guns. Now the sniper rifle, ironically, already has that functionality. I'll show it off here. It's kind of nauseating, so just bear with me. So you right-click when you're doing stuff, and you can increase your area of how big you can see. Slightly useful. It only works with guns, the rifle scope is, and of course the sniper rifle, you have to be holding the sniper rifle to be able to use it. So I wouldn't say it's the best. It's not bad by any means, but we won't really be needing it too much. So another thing I did was I managed to collect a bunch of stuff that we're going to be using for our newly minted magic set, because we'll be using the Spectre set, which in my opinion is probably the best set we could be using for the endgame stuff. Some people would disagree, but I just like the magic for the extra healing when it comes to solo stuff. If you're in a group of people and you have and you're playing multiplayer, for instance, it doesn't really matter what set you go with. But if you're playing solo, it's kind of best to either go ranged or magic, just because of the fact that you get the extra ability to run away. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all the stuff, and you can just see I just collected a bunch of stuff. We'll be showing off the weapons when I'm fighting, and I'm also just going to go ahead and craft the things I need to craft right here. So I'm going to go ahead and craft, first of all, a mana regeneration band with the Band of Star Power and Band of Health Regeneration. That will allow me to craft the magic cuffs with a mana regeneration band and a shackle. And lastly, I can create the Celestial Cuffs, which is the combination of the Magic Cuffs and a Celestial Magnet. So I'll go ahead and craft that up. I have 2 more emblems. One of them is a Sorcerer Emblem, and the other one's a Ranger Emblem. I'm going to turn the Ranger Emblem into an Avenger Emblem. And with the Avenger Emblem, we can create a Celestial Emblem, because we already have an Avenger Emblem. We don't really need another one, but we can create a Celestial Emblem. So as you can see, it increases our damage even more. And I got another magical emblem just because of the fact that we needed the extra mana. Or I mean, not the extra magic damage. Forgive me. So yeah, I also put the Menacing Cloak in. I just realized I talked about the Wisp in a Bottle, but I didn't actually bother to equip it. So let's go ahead and equip it and turn it on. This is what the Wisp in a Bottle looks like. As you can see, it follows the way you're moving. So if I, for instance, went downwards and just held down, you can see it's kind of gone into the floor there, and that's somewhat useful for mining and whatnot. The Wisp in a Bottle is some people's favorite light pet. I don't dislike it by any means. I just prefer a light pet that you get later on for its effect over the wisp in the bottle. But overall, once you have a wisp in the bottle, you effectively have one of the best light pets in the game. Let me go ahead and toss our shadow orb back into a chest. Let me go ahead and craft up as many chlorophyte bars as I can here, which should be a lot. There we go. And we'll go ahead and create as many specter bars as we can. 62, so we have 92 specter bars, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a mask, a specter hood, a specter robe, and pants. Now with our remaining, we could create, let's see, we don't need the paint stuff, but it might be worthwhile to have a pickaxe. Let me think. We already have the hollowed pickaxe, which is kind of good. Maybe the Spectre Hamax would be a good choice here. Can only really get one of them. Let's go with the Hamax just because we don't really have a good hammer. We're still using a meteor hammer, so we'll go ahead and toss that meteor hammer in a chest. Alright, so the major benefit of going magic, especially with the Spectre Staff and the Spectre set and the Magnet Sphere. So with these two weapons combined, we have a massively good combo here. So overall, if you're looking at them normally, the Spectre Hood is not as good as the Spectre Mask. Now, this changes when you see the effect of the Spectre Hood. The Spectre Hood has been nerfed many times over Terraria's lifetime because of how good it is, and so we'll equip it and I'll show you. So when equipped in the full set, it reduces magic damage by 40%, which is a massive hit to us and why we wanted to get a bunch of items that increase our magic damage, and it converts it to healing force. Magic damage done to enemies heals the player with lowest health. So effectively what this means is that it spawns these little orbs that look similar to the Spectre Staff projectiles, you can see, and they come back to players and they heal them for the amount of damage done. It always goes to the lowest health player if you're in a group, but because we're not in a group, it'll just always come back to us. So the robe and pants do not change their effect. And as you can see, there was some of the healing. I just got 10 healing back from that. This effect is insanely strong, especially when we combine these two items, so I'll kind of show you. The Spectre Staff kind of shoots these little white ball projectiles. They're lost souls to chase your foes, and it does a decent amount of damage. It's got fast speed. It uses 15 mana, which is pretty much the biggest downside to it. The major benefit, though, is that it's homing, so you never have to really worry about missing as long as you aim it in the general direction of your enemy. The Magnet Sphere is also got a homing projectile, but it fires out these little lasers, so I'll show that off now. So the major thing about the Magnet Sphere is you throw forward a Magnet Sphere. As you can see, it's a slow-moving sphere that just kind of travels outwards. As it travels outwards, it kind of attacks enemies, and you'll definitely get the chance to see that soon enough. It shoots like these little lasers at them. If it hits a wall, it will dissipate, so just be aware of that. But it's massively useful because you can throw out a Magnet Sphere and then start shooting at something, and it effectively works similar to the Nimbus clouds that we had previously. So, yeah. Magic is all about using multiple sources to damage things because you kind of have that ability to do that. So we'll go ahead and equip the Celestial Cuffs, the Mana Cloak. Let's see, we'll go ahead and equip the Celestial Emblem. Now let's see, what do I want to take off? Criminies, that's a tough choice. I think I'm going to have to go with taking off the Star Veil to equip more damage. The major thing is that when you're using the Spectre set, you want to increase your damage as much as possible because of the fact that you will be able to... where did I put that? Hold on. Let me pull that back out. We'll go ahead and put that down here. You'll be able to heal back the damage that you gain. So the more you increase your damage, the more you heal, effectively. So it's massively useful in that sense. Let me go ahead and take out the money that I have currently. So I now have 3 platinum. This is really important in this stage of the game because we're able to pick up an item that is pretty useful She doesn't sell it yet, I don't think. Later on, the Steampunker will sell the Steampunk wings. I think maybe after the Golem's defeated? I'm not positive. But yeah, she'll sell those, and those will be useful to us. Let me go ahead and take our melee set and go stick that in a chest. We'll go ahead and take this rest of my Spectre stuff and throw that in a chest. Go ahead and take these souls, throw those in a chest. Alright, so now that we've got that all set up, now the healing effect of the Spectre Hood is really, really good. The major downside is that it reduces your damage, and when you go to fight the Moon Lord, which is now, you're kind of in the stage where you're either going to be fighting the Golem or the Moon Lord. For the Golem, I highly recommend the Hood. The Hood is much, much better for the Golem and just in general play because of that healing effect. However, when you go to fight the Moon Lord, you must have the Spectre Mask instead if you continue to use magic. And we'll go ahead and show that off. Its effect: magic damage done will hurt extra nearby enemies. So effectively, it shoots out the same like projectiles, but instead they hurt enemies. And you also get a bunch of extra mana and reducing mana usage and all that good stuff. So the major benefit of that is that it increases your damage. Now the reason why you want to do this for the Moon Lord instead of using the Spectre Hood is just because the Spectre Hood's effect is disabled for the Moon Lord. It's because of a debuff he puts on you and you just can't use it, so don't even try. It's just not worth it. Let me go ahead and pop those away. Oh, where did all my potions go? Oh no, I've quick stacked my potions into a chest. I thought I had them all. Where did they go? Surely it would be a chest that was easy to find. Right? Oh no. Oh well. We'll go ahead and grab these healing potions and we'll just make do with that for the time being. Alright, now that I've rambled a whole bunch, pretty much just talked everybody's ear off, let me go ahead and slot these in. I want to get my mana potions all set up. I'll go ahead and go like that instead. There we go. Okay, so you might notice that I've got a Heart Lantern and a Star in a Bottle. That's because we're going to be setting up an arena for the Golem, and then we're going to be trying to fight the Golem. That is our goal today. And as we're doing that, I'll show off the Magnet Sphere and Spectre Staff, hopefully. Yeah. So that is going to be our major goal. I think we'll go with the setup. The Worm Scarf is technically, there you go. There's some healing. You can see that, like, I probably just healed most of my HP just with that. Then you combine it with the Magnet Sphere. Let's see if we can't find another enemy to test our Magnet Sphere on. At this point in the game, you've got some of the best weapons you can kind of get your hands on. After we defeat the Golem, we'll get some of the absolute best ones when we can start the lunar events. Let's see. Come on, there's gonna be something around here we can test our stuff on. Did I have my key? I just realized I don't have my key, I don't think. I don't. Is my key on my thing? There's the Magnet Sphere. As you can see, it does pretty decent damage, and it fires exceptionally quickly. Very good at defending you. So, there's my key. Okay. Sort those items. Alright, I should be good to go. So our major goal here is that when we're fighting the Golem, we'll be using our items to heal ourselves up. So the Golem will pretty much be doing, hopefully, nearly nothing to us. Note, the major downside to being a magic user is that you don't have a lot of defense. So even though we heal really well, we don't have that defense to really back it up, so we're going to be relying on the Worm Scarf to kind of make up for that. Now we could have a dodge item, like the Brain of Cthulhu and the Ninja Gear. Those are also good items. But we're going to focus on trying to reduce damage, because I've found that, personally, I think that works a little better when healing. Now we're going to head down in this hole. Okay, it's really dark. I forgot that it was so dark. Let's go ahead and just kind of slow our roll here, because we don't want to make it so we run into something and just die. Send our Spectre Bolts down as well, because they'll hit anything that's below us. It might be worthwhile for me to reforge these before the next episode, but I'll worry about that at that time. And we really don't want to spend our 3 platinum, though. We want to have 3 platinum because we can get a set of wings. And wings are pretty good for fighting the Moon Lord. They're not required. With our slime mount, will actually probably be pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Oh. So the major thing about the Jungle Temple is that there are lots of traps. I want to destroy as many traps as possible. Let's go ahead and open this up. Let's go ahead and kill these guys. You can see that we're just tearing through enemies, even with that 40% damage reduction. And we're healing pretty good overall too. Go ahead and break that. We're definitely still going to be able to get hit and take a lot of damage from the stuff, so when you go into the jungle you want to kind of take it slow. We'll go that way. You can only have 1 magnet sphere at a time, I forgot to mention that. So when you come into the temple, you want to try and disarm as many traps as possible, even though I'm failing at that miserably. And you want to kind of make your way in, just breaking all the pots too. The pots can sometimes drop lizard cells. So can the enemies, so kill enemies as well while you're in here. Although you'll probably have to do that regardless. So yeah, as you can tell with magic, you have a lot of effects that reduce your damage, which is kind of funny. And mostly a holdover from the fact that they tended to be, magic tended to be too powerful without them. Let's go ahead and put a light down so we see. We're going to want to kill everything in our way down, and also forgot to summon my minion. Definitely want to have them out while we're going down here. There we go. Okay. So we want to disarm all the traps as we're going down because of the fact that we will inevitably be coming back to fight the Golem, probably. Well, I'd say inevitably, but we'll probably be coming back to fight the Golem. It's one of those things that the Golem is one of those bosses that you tend to fight a lot just because of how easy it is to get to him. Oh, here's a chest. So that gives us our first lizard power cell, which can be used at the lizard altar, which we'll get to soon enough. And that allows us to fight the Golem. So with each lizard power cell, we have an item to fight the Golem. So that's why you want to kill enemies and disarm traps, because it's really, really easy to get these items. And even by the time we're done disarming the Temple of Traps, we'll have enough lizard power cells to fight the Golem quite a few times. So we have no worries about, like with Plantera, where we weren't able to fight Plantera because we just couldn't find any bulbs. We'll more than likely have more than enough to fight the Golem. Let me go over here real quick. And we want to disable all these spikes because spikes are just bad in general. And the spikes in here, these wooden spikes, I think do extra, yeah, they do a lot of damage. I was just getting hit for like 30. So, spikes and traps in the temple are no joke. You definitely want to disable them as soon as possible. Let's go ahead and break out that one. Okay, I think that's the only one. I'm going to leave the spikes on the roof just because I don't think I'm going to be running into those too often, but the ones on the floor I'll definitely be dealing with. Let's go ahead and put up another. Even with our Wispinal bottle, it's still kind of hard to see, isn't it? Let's go ahead and throw down a magnet sphere. Try and get them cleared out. I guess I could be shooting the Spectre Staff too. As you can see, it kind of curves around, so it's pretty much got the homing capabilities of like the Magic Missile and other things. Really good overall. I recommend the Spectre Staff highly. It's just a good weapon. For fighting the Golem especially. When we're fighting the Moon Lord, we will be having better weapons. I'm going to go ahead and put that back down because I don't need that in my inventory right now. Alright. So let's go ahead and just loot everything out of this. So we've already got 2 lizard power cells, which means 2 attempts at the Golem. Which means we're closer to where we need to be. Oh no. That is like one of the most dangerous traps in here, the bouncy balls of doom. They do a lot of damage, and they're persistent, so it's just going to keep bouncing. And keep trying to kill us. Okay. So we need to get rid of that. Go ahead. And even though these are on the wall, because they're in our way, and they're pretty likely that we would run into them, we'll go ahead and destroy those spikes. Let's go ahead and deal with these guys too. You can see that we're doing decent damage, even though we have the 40% damage reduction. We're still doing pretty okay damage. Some things to be noted about the Spectre armor is that, as far as I know, if you do too little damage, its effect won't proc. So you have to be doing a certain amount of damage for it to even activate. And by activate, I mean like to be able to heal you. If you don't have enough damage for it to heal you, then what's the point of even using it, really? Because you're just reducing your damage even further. Alright, let's go ahead and jump in here. Throw our magnet sphere. Okay. So yeah, this episode is mostly going to be me clearing out jungle, temple, and then trying to fight the golem. I'm going to give the golem a couple attempts, but if I run out of lizard power cells or we manage to defeat the golem, then I'll stop. Either or, we'll be fine. You can tell by how fast the magnet sphere attacks that it's a pretty high DPS weapon. We're now at the point where we're doing really good damage. It's pretty easy for us to keep up. So this is the problem with the temple that I have. Hard to tell where the buttons are underneath all the loot. There we go. Okay. I'm having to look really close at the pixels to determine where the buttons are. The magnet sphere does have a little bit of knockback, but it's not much. You mostly use the magnet sphere just for its extra damage. Grab that. So we're also getting some other items. Solar tablet fragments in particular. The solar tablet fragments allow us to create a solar tablet, which effectively summons a solar eclipse. Now, we haven't seen a solar eclipse. I'm kind of hoping I might not even need to when I think about it. But yeah, a solar eclipse is a bad time for us, as it spawns in a lot of very hard to deal with enemies. Go ahead and place some torches down so I can see. What else? We got a lizard furnace, which allows us to create lizard furniture from lizard bricks. But you can't even really. I think you might be able to mine lizard bricks if you get maybe a spectre pickaxe. I'm not sure. We don't really need lizard furniture, so I'm not gonna even really worry about that. Okay, gotta deal with these spikes, obviously. Go ahead, go up here. Okay, there we go. You want to avoid rushing ahead in the jungle just because of those pressure plates. Or the temple, that is. Forgive me, I just said jungle. You can rush ahead in the jungle at this point, but not the temple. Okay. So as you can kind of see, the temple kind of snakes down, and the final room of the temple is the golem's room, where we'll find the altar. I forget what it's called. Solar altar? Something like that. What is it called? Lizard altar. That's right. Ow. Alright, so get those. As you can see, we've already got 9 lizard power cells. It's more than enough than we need. Let me go ahead and dump. So this is the solar tablet, which summons the eclipse, as I just mentioned earlier. We'll dump those lizard pressure plates. Pretty much all the junk that we don't need. So I want to make sure that I got enough for the stuff that drops from the golem and from these lizards. I can always come back to this chest and get it. I'm not going to destroy the chest or anything, so it should be fine. Okay. Done with that. Managed to get a lizard egg. That allows us to have a new pet. It's a little lizard. I don't know where he even is. I guess we didn't have a pet already. I thought we already had a pet. I guess I was wrong. I managed to get our first pet item, the lizard. Oh, you can see him right there. It's just a little lizard. It's a cool little dude. I don't like this room at all. It's very tiny. Very hard to get around in. That was a bad place to be. Okay, we'll grab these. We'll go ahead and dump the rest of our stuff again. I don't need that depth meter in my inventory. I do want to save my money because that'll allow me to get some reforges. So let me go ahead and drop that off before I get murdered by something silly. Managed to get ourselves another platinum, which is pretty good. At this point, reforges cost so much that platinum is pretty much required when trying to go for reforges. You even have like enough gold to be able to reforge your items, at least into like good prefixes. Let me go ahead and put down some more torches as we're going along here. Not the lizards coming up. Back that way. Go ahead, let's see, and deal with them. And then we can slowly creep our way across. Deal with these wooden spikes. Deal with the lizard. These flying snakes and these lizards are annoying, but not the most problematic enemies because they just kind of run at you. They don't shoot. Not very threatening, but they can get on top of you fairly quickly when they go into that four-legged mode. My little lizard buddy's kind of cute. I've never really used this pet that much, so never really noticed him. Pets, I guess I should mention that. Pets don't attack. Pets are just cosmetic, so he's just chilling, just hanging out. He ain't got no beef with nobody. Alright, ooh, that's Bouncy Balls of Doom. Let's go ahead and get some healing from beating up enemies. Let's go ahead and destroy that pressure plate, because we don't want any more Bouncy Balls of Doom. Okay, so this is the final room in the temple. I want to make sure to be able to light this area up, because this is pretty much where most people fight the Golem. It's probably where we're going to fight the Golem too. You can create an arena, like I said. Oh, Jesus. You can create an arena if you wanted to. But I would combine it with this temple if possible, so in other words, I would like knock out this wall right here to create a better arena if I was to create an arena. I've never seen a temple spawn with like floating platforms like this before. That's a new one for me. Usually it spawns with like a flat ground. As you can see, it's quite large, so it's pretty good for fighting big enemies. So it'll be good for us fighting the Golem, I think. I think it'll be just fine. Okay, so I'm just concentrating to get these pressure plates. Alright, I think that's all the pressure plates. Let's go ahead and grab all this stuff. Let's just throw that stuff back in, because we only really need the lizard power cells. As you can see, we now have 11 lizard power cells. That means we can summon the Golem 11 times. This is why a lot of people fight the Golem multiple times, just for gold and other resources. Because you just have the ability to fight him so many times. Alright, so we're going to throw down a campfire. We're also going to throw up Heart Lantern and Star in a Bottle. Oh, I took a bunch of unnecessary damage there. Let me go ahead and take our money trough out so we can go ahead and throw in some more gold into our thing. Don't want to lose any of that. Alright. I don't know how easy the golem's going to be. I'm going to hope he's going to be fairly easy for us. I don't remember how difficult he's on expert. But I'm going to hope. Alright. So this is the lizard altar, the little sunshine thing with the little sunshines on it. You can activate it by holding... Oh, that was not what I wanted to put on there. I wanted to put these on there. By holding a lizard power cell and just clicking on it, and that summons the golem. Let's go ahead and summon our minion. I'll buff up. And you know what, we're just going to try him. So this is the golem. It's not really all that imposing, but he is pretty damaging. So you do want to try and get as much damage into him as possible. Especially once he gets to his second phase. So we want to just make sure that we're getting our magnet spheres out and rolling. We can destroy his hands over fighting him. We're probably going to destroy his hands just by happenstance. Just by chance. But you're mostly going to want to focus on getting his head down. He's going to start shooting lasers. Just keep oval. Nothing too difficult in this first part. You might notice I said first part, because we're definitely not done. And he's definitely not this easy. There we go, second part. So this is the second part of him. You can see that I'm, even though we're in expert, I'm still not struggling that much because of how much I'm healing. I'm just healing an insane amount thanks to the Spectre Armor. Every time I get hit, I pretty much heal that back. And he's down. And that's the golem. Not very hard. As you could tell, I got him down in the first try. And that unlocks the lunar events. So that's a huge step forward. So we did get the beetle husks, and we also got our expert mode of the shiny stone. Greatly increases life regen, and it's actually pretty significant. So you can see I'm only regenerating that much health. We'll go ahead and equip it real quick. You can see it boosts it up by that much. It's pretty significant. So if you're farming something and you just want health regen, shiny stone's really good. Now we managed to get an unpleasant possessed hatchet, a pretty good melee weapon. I'd probably say it's one of the best, if not the best, for fighting the Moonlord if you're melee. You can throw out little hatchets and they heat seek pretty much into your enemies. Chases after your enemy, as you can see. And then, like I said, the beetle husks. So yeah, that was the golem. Not very hard, even on expert mode. We did want to get a picksaw from him, but that's not required. Yeah, easy enough. You'd think it would be a little bit harder to deal with him, but no. The golem was kind of a pushover. So that unlocks the lunar events. Now the way you get the lunar events started is we go over there to the dungeon, and there will be some new enemies over there that have spawned. And kind of a new boss that we have to fight to be able to unlock the lunar events. Let me go ahead and pull out... Actually, let me just go ahead and pull out my money. And we'll put that back in, and let me get some prefixes on my armor here. I mean, not armor, but my magnet sphere and staff. Let me go ahead and get some reforges on that so I can hopefully get better, not worse. That's much, much worse. That's okay. We'll go with that. That's fine. 5% extra damage. Mystic. 10% extra damage and 14% less mana cost. That's a really good one. Can we get one more? Yeah, we can get a couple more. Deranged? Nope. Demonic. Demonic is really good. 15% extra damage on that? Yeah. Okay, so now we got 15% and 10% extra damage on those. Nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much that, and that's it for this episode. And next episode we'll be doing the lunar events. Now, there are 2 extra bosses that we could potentially fight that are kind of like secret bosses before you go fight the Moonlord. One of them is Duke Fishron, which you fight at the ocean, and the other is the, I think it's the Empress of Light. I think that's her name. Forgive me, I don't really remember her super well because she's so new, and you fight her in the Hollow. but I'm going to skip over them, and that reason is that you don't need to do them. At no point are they required, and I'll be doing them after I defeat the Moon Lord. Yeah, you heard that right. I'll be doing them after I defeat the Moon Lord. Oh wait, Traveling Merchant. Let me see what he got before I go. What does he got? What do you have? You have an exotic chew toy for 1 platinum, a heart pin for 2 gold, a revolver, and some foe. You know what, let's buy the chew toy. Good. So that's our second pet. Instead of the lizard, we now have the fennec fox with our exotic chew toy. Fennec fox. What does the fox say? Better yet, what does the fox hear? Oh, I didn't read the buff for the lizard egg. What's the buff for the lizard egg? Chilling like a reptilian. We'll go ahead and use our 1 plat fennec fox. Why not? Go ahead and throw our lizard egg in a chest. So yeah, next time I'm going to try the lunar events, and I'm going to show how to do those, or at least how I do them. And then we're going to fight the Moon Lord. It's crazy that we're pretty much already at the final boss. But yeah, we're pretty much already at the final boss. So until then, goodbye.